one of South Africa's highest security prisons. The guards reported smoke, chaos, shouting. When the fire was out, all that remained was a charred corpse on a steel bed frame. The inmate was listed as Thabo Bester. Within hours, officials signed the paperwork. Cause of death, fire, case closed. But as the smoke cleared, something about the story didn't add up. Thabo Bester was no ordinary prisoner. He was known nationwide as the Facebook rapist, a man who used fake modeling profiles to lure women, promising fame and opportunity. Instead, he drugged, assaulted, and in some cases, murdered them. In 2012, his crimes made national headlines that he was convicted on charges of rape, murder, and fraud, and sentenced to life imprisonment, that he was supposed to die behind bars. But on that night in 2022, it seemed he had already done just that, or so everyone thought. Inside the prison, guards whispered quietly. Something about the body felt off. One officer noted that the body appeared shorter than Bester. Another noticed the burn patterns didn't align with someone who died from the flames, more like someone burned after death. But when management pushed for quick closure, questions were silenced. DNA samples were sent to the state lab, but somehow the results were never returned in a follow-up investigation. No second autopsy. Within a week, the prison held a memorial service. The newspapers carried a few small articles. Facebook rapist dies in prison fire. No photos, no details, just another headline that disappeared after a day. For many, it was a relief, one less predator alive. But for others, particularly the families of his victims, the end felt too clean, too convenient. Because Thabo Bester was not a man who accepted his fate. He was a manipulator, a liar, a chameleon. And as South Africa would soon discover, he was also a master escape artist. Months passed, then whispers began leaking out. Inmates started telling strange stories. They claimed that before the fire, Bester had been receiving unusual visitors, people who weren't on the normal approval list. They said boxes and equipment had been brought into his cell. Some even claimed they saw a man resembling Bester leaving the facility before the fire broke out. At first, it sounded like conspiracy. After all, who escapes a maximum security private prison and leaves behind a burnt body? But deep within the corridors of Manhunt Correctional Center, corruption ran deep. For years, the facility had been plagued by reports of abuse, torture, and cover-ups. And when it came to Thabo Bester, someone with money, influence, and charm, boundaries blurred easily. The country moved on, until one small newsroom decided not to. In 2023, nearly a year later, journalists from ground up began investigating inconsistencies in the official reports. They discovered that the DNA tests on the charred remains had never been publicly confirmed. Through leaked documents, they learned that the body found in Bester's cell wasn't his at all. It belonged to an unidentified man, later confirmed to have died from blunt force trauma before the fire. The burns were staged to destroy evidence. And suddenly, everything made sense. Bester had faked his death, and somewhere out there, he was alive. South Africans were stunned. How could one of the country's most notorious criminals escape a maximum security prison? Who helped him do it? And who was the woman rumored to be by his side? What started as a fire inside cell 35 was only the beginning. Because behind every escape story, there's always someone waiting on the outside. She was beautiful, successful, respected. Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, a name once synonymous with elegance and ambition. The face of a new, empowered South Africa. But behind that polished image lay a secret that would destroy everything. Because while the world believed Thabo Bester was dead, she knew the truth that he was alive, and she was helping him hide. To the public, Dr. Magudumana was a rising star and a qualified doctor. A businesswoman, owner of Optimum Medical Aesthetics, a luxury cosmetic clinic in Johannesburg's upmarket Sandton district. She specialized in beauty, confidence, transformation, helping clients look and feel better about themselves. She drove a Mercedes. She dressed in designer suits. She appeared on magazine covers and lifestyle shows that belie all appearances. She had it all. But behind the scenes, her personal life was unraveling. Her marriage was falling apart. Her clinic was struggling financially, and somewhere along the way, she reconnected with an old flame, Thabo Bester. Before his arrest, Thabo Bester had built a reputation online as Tom Motseep, a fake producer promising modeling contracts to young women. Doctor Nandipha, back then, was already a known professional, but their paths crossed years earlier through social circles, a brief connection that turned into fascination. Even from prison, Bester knew how to reach people, that he was charismatic, manipulative, and persuasive. According to investigators, he used multiple phones inside prison, speaking to her daily. Their conversations grew intense. He convinced her that his imprisonment was unjust, that he was a visionary entrepreneur, misunderstood by the world. And soon, she wasn't just listening, she was believing. By 2018, their relationship had turned romantic. She began visiting him at Mongang prison. Inmate records show that she appeared on visitor logs multiple times. But she didn't go there as a doctor, she went as a partner. Bester had a plan, and he needed her help. He began manipulating her into his escape strategy. Fake documents, business fronts, and eventually a fake death. Inside prison, he convinced officials that he was working on a tech startup called 21st Century Media, supposedly a company under the name Tom Motseep. He told them he was a businessman who would revolutionize the entertainment industry. Outside, Dr. Nandipha helped legitimize the lie. She created presentations, opened accounts, and booked venues under the company's name. IT was the perfect cover. The Beauty and the Bester. While he sat in his cell, she built his empire outside the walls. Together, they orchestrated a digital illusion. By 2022, the plan was in motion. According to investigators, Dr. Magudumana began coordinating with certain prison staff, people willing to look the other way for money. A body was brought into the prison, an unidentified man believed to have been killed elsewhere. That body became the sacrifice, the proof of Bester's death. On May 3rd, 2022, the cell was set on fire. Bester vanished, and in the chaos, the false narrative was sealed. The Facebook rapist was gone forever. But he wasn't. Within days, Dr. Nandipha was seen driving out of Bloemfontein, the same region where the prison stands. In the back seat of her car was a man wearing a disguise. For the next year, Thabo Bester lived as a ghost. He and Dr. Magudumana moved into our 12 million mansion in Hyde Park, one of Johannesburg's most exclusive neighborhoods. They hosted private meetings under false names that he pretended to be a high-profile American investor named TK Nkwana. Neighbors described them as charming, quiet, the kind of couple who kept to themselves. No one suspected they were living with a fugitive. Meanwhile, families of Bester's victims were at peace, believing justice had been served. The country had no idea that the man who terrorized women for years was walking freely, living lavishly, right in the heart of Johannesburg. It all began to unravel when people started noticing small details online. In 2023, sharp-eyed Twitter users spotted photos of Dr. Nandipha shopping with a man who looked eerily like Thabo Bester. He was taller, his face was slimmer, but the resemblance was undeniable. Soon, ground-up journalists published their investigation. Thabo Bester, the Facebook rapist, may still be alive. The story exploded. Social media caught fire. South Africans demanded answers. As pressure mounted, Dr. Nandipha and Bester fled. They left their mansion, abandoned their cars, and headed north. Using fake passports, they crossed into Zimbabwe, then into Tanzania. But the world was watching now. Interpol issued red notices. Journalists tracked their movements. And on April 7th, 2023, in Arusha, Tanzania, police surrounded their black SUV at a petrol station. Inside, Thabo Bester, beside him, Dr. Nandipha. They were arrested on the spot. Music swells, tense strings, heartbeat rhythm. After nearly a year of deceit, the lovers who thought they could outsmart the system were finally caught. Back in South Africa, the public watched in disbelief. The perfect doctor and the monster inmate, side by side in court. Dr. Nandipha in tears, Thabo Bester smirking. Their story became a symbol, not of romance, but of corruption, manipulation, and the price of blind love. Pause. Slow fade to black. In the end, beauty didn't save her, it destroyed her. And South Africa learned that sometimes the most dangerous prisons aren't made of walls, they're built from lies. Fade out music, soft piano, and wind sound. I'm unveiling true crime, and this was Beauty and the Bester. Episode 2, The Doctor Who Loved a Killer. Stay tuned for Episode 3, The Empire They Built on Lies. Hashtag True Crime Africa, hashtag Beauty and the Bester, hashtag Real Stories. Hit the subscribe button so that you can be a part of our community, and together we fight crime and unveil all dark cases.